If you're like me, you might have just dusted off your slow cooker. It's like finding an old friend. Well, I'm not an expert on the subject, but I'm going to be cooking with someone who is. My good buddy Michele Scicolone is the author of 3 cookbooks on slow cooking, and she's going to share her favorites with us. First, an outstanding pork ragu, finished with broken lasagna, arugula, and parmesan. This kind of low and slow cooking is perfect for pork. Then a meatball tagine, bursting with Middle Eastern flavor that's simmered in smoky tomato sauce and topped with a poached egg. So get ready to set it and forget it with 2 slow cooker weeknight meals. Funding provided by
Subaru builds vehicles like the versatile Subaru Forester with symmetrical all-wheel drive and plenty of cargo room. A recipe made for whatever the day brings. Subaru, a proud sponsor of Sara's Weeknight Meals.
Family owned and Indiana grown, Maple Leaf Farms is a proud sponsor of Sara's Weeknight Meals. Providing a variety of duck products for home kitchens, Maple Leaf Farms Duck helps inspire culinary adventures everywhere. Maple Leaf Farms.
Ezra's Feta Cheese, family made for more than a century.
So you sell heritage pork, huh?
Yes, we do. All natural, pasture-raised pork.
Yum. I think I have 10 cents. Hi, I'm Sara Moulton. Welcome to Sara's Weeknight Meals. Well, boy, are we going to cover this topic of slow cookers, because it's such a great way to get dinner on the table during the work week, and I have an expert here, my friend Michele Scicolone. I've known Michele for years. She's written 20 cookbooks?
20, yeah.
Mainly on Italian food, but for some crazy reason, she's brilliant. She thought it's time to address the issue of slow cookers. Tell us what we're making. It's a pork dish.
Yeah, this is a really unique pork dish. It's from Maialino Restaurant.
Oh, I love that place.
It's called a pork ragu, and it's served with broken lasagna and arugula. This is a pork shoulder, and if you make the recipe, make sure that you get a size of pork that will fit into your cooker.
You know, I've learned that the hard way. So this is a fairly large slow cooker,
Yes,
right?
it is. That looks like a 5 or 6 quart cooker. And what I'm doing here is taking off the thick layer of skin and fat that's on top. But you don't want to remove all the fat, because that'll help to keep the meat nice and moist as it cooks.
Fat is a good thing in a slow cooker, and you can always remove it afterwards.
Exactly. And the fattier meats actually do better in the slow cooker. But I avoid those really lean pieces of chicken, like boneless chicken breast. If you do want to use a boneless chicken breast, you can, but you've got to watch it really carefully so it doesn't overcook.
We need 3 tablespoons of olive oil.
Right.
So I'm making sort of the flavorings here.
Yes, that's the flavor base.
And what size do you recommend for a family?
A slow cooker?
Yeah.
Well, I tell everybody to get a large one, because
Really?
I have no problem with having leftovers.
I love leftovers.
What's
That's
bad
my
about
idea
that?
of heaven.
And most slow cooker dishes really freeze beautifully. We need to sprinkle this with salt and pepper.
Okay, on all sides?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll start with salt, and we're using kosher salt?
Yeah, I like kosher salt.
Now, is it important to season before you put it in the pan?
I
Do you want to
think
roll
so.
it over and I'll do the other side?
I think it is, because the meat's going to cook for a long, long time, and you're not going to want to open your cooker as the food is cooking, because that loses a lot of heat.
I've heard that if you take the lid off, you lose 20 minutes of cooking time.
That's what I've heard as well.
How finely do you want the celery chopped?
Oh, just big chunks is fine,
Okay.
because it's really just going to be a flavoring. So I've got the pork in here.
And you didn't brown it?
No, I didn't.
Now, why didn't you brown it?
Well, I've done a lot of experimenting. Sometimes I'll take half of a chicken or something and brown it, and I've also tried leaving the other half unbrowned. And I found that the end result is exactly the same, because the long, slow cooking sort of equalizes. If you like to brown, you certainly can, but it really isn't essential. I need to wash my porky
and we're going to
hands.
soften the, okay, so what I've got in there is 1 white onion that I chopped up fine, and then 1 celery stalk that I just chopped coarse, and
perfect.
1 teaspoon of fennel seed. And this we need to cook for about 10 minutes until it softens. So, okay, some other basic questions. I think a lot of people think you just throw everything in the pot, put it on the lid, and walk away for 8 to 10 hours. Is that correct or not correct?
You know, there are some dishes that you can certainly do that with and get a good result, but I always find that if you want something really special, I think a little effort.
A little, just a few little details.
Yeah.
How full do you fill it before it's too full? Meaning,
Yeah.
let's say I just filled that to the brim and put the lid on.
Yeah.
What would happen?
Well, you wouldn't want to do that because it's too much for the heating element in the slow cooker to handle. So you'll get the most efficient cooking if it's filled to from about 2/3 to 3/4 of the way.
Okay. So next we're going to add, we've got some chicken broth. 4 cups?
Yes.
Yes, okay. We're going to bring this is very interesting. We're going to bring this up to a boil. Why are we doing that?
Well, that helps to get the cooking temperature to the right level. If we start with a hot ingredient, we're not adding another cold ingredient to the slow cooker.
And by the way, I'm going to add the thyme, a couple sprigs of thyme to this too. This is just about there, right? Do you think we can put this
I
in?
think that should be fine.
Okay, good. So I'm just going to dump this right on top of it.
We need a little bit more liquid in here.
Okay, tell me why we need more liquid.
Well, again, we want to go up to that ideal level that I mentioned of about 3/4 of the way
Okay.
full, and it will cook more evenly if it's covered
Basically
with
covered.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be complete.
Completely covered.
Yeah.
You'll say when.
That looks good.
Okay.
Excellent.
All right, so now, this is fancy schmancy. This has like little snaps on it.
Yeah, this is a great idea. I like these. If you're going to a party and you want to bring a dish with you, this is great because it seals the cover.
So it doesn't slurp out?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay,
you can
so
put it
what
in
do
your
we
car.
need to set it to?
So let's put it on high to give it a start.
And
It's got to cook for like 8 to 10 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I think we should go have a glass of wine.
Oh, what a great
And look
idea.
at your latest photos. You're always traveling. You
Yes.
got to tell me where you've been.
Oh, I've been having a good
Go over
time.
here, yeah. All right, so tell me, which trip was this?
Well, this was on a cruise that we took a couple of years ago. I was teaching on the cruise ship, and Charles was doing wine presentations. Here's Charles, and this is in one of our favorite restaurants in Provence. This trip is one of my favorite trips. We visited Anna Toscalanza. This was at her cooking school.
I would imagine that your trips are pretty food-centric. Is that correct?
Oh, absolutely. Food and history and wine, too.
Yeah, of course, it's a double whammy because
Yeah.
Charles is a wine expert.
Yeah.
Does all this traveling help you to come up with ideas for your
Oh,
cookbooks?
absolutely. You try different ingredients, you taste new flavors, combinations you wouldn't think of. There's just so much.
It's just such an education.
All
it's really
around.
great to travel.
Yeah, it is.
Alrighty, so I'm so excited to check out our pork ragu.
Smells great.
8 to 10 hours later, so we've let it cool for about 20 minutes. Let's put our wine out of the way. We got to
Good
get down
idea.
to business and focus.
I'm gonna take that whole piece of pork out. I'm using
It's gonna
2
probably
forks.
fall apart a little.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, and that's what you're looking for, right?
Yes, exactly.
Is that it's so
That's
tender.
Look at that. And then I'm gonna take just 2 dinner forks
Okay.
and shred the meat.
Okay.
And this is fabulous. Oh, it smells so good.
All right, I'm going to get the water on for the
Good
pasta
idea,
because
yeah.
we need the torn pasta over here, and I'm going to add some salt. We're using broken lasagna. What's the point? Why didn't we just use broken pasta?
Well, that's the chef's way of doing it. That's the way he makes it at Maialino, so I thought I'd go with that. And you know, it's really a
About
tradition.
how big?
About 3-inch pieces should do it. Yeah, so
Okay.
you want a nice size slab.
Well, this is sort of fun. This is like recycling when you break glasses. You know what I mean? I like that idea. Okay,
Well,
I'm going to break it all and put it all in one.
You know, I always say if you have kids in the house, they love the job of breaking the pasta.
yeah.
So,
Well, I guess I'm a kid. Is it really safe to leave a machine on for 8 hours? Let's say you put it on in the morning and you go to work.
a slow cooker uses no more electricity than a 75-watt light bulb.
Is that true?
So, I mean, imagine that you're going off to work and you leave the light on in the closet. It's
No
sort of the
biggie.
same thing.
No biggie,
Yeah.
okay.
So just make sure it's in a safe spot. You know, you don't
Yeah.
want anybody knocking into it.
Okay.
This pork just shredded
I
beautifully.
have to say,
It's just perfect.
I just want to literally dive
I
in
know,
there.
I know. Okay, so I'm going to put the shredded pork into the pot because now it's cooled off a little bit.
And I'm gonna grate some Parmigiano Reggiano.
Yes.
I know one of your favorite ingredients.
Absolutely. And then I will skim the fat off just using a big spoon. If you have one of those separators, the fat separators, that's even easier. But you can just use a spoon.
Okay, sounds good.
So I'm just going to skim off some of this liquid fat. Now, if you had made it in advance and put this in the fridge, it would be even easier to skim the fat off.
Right.
Because it would be cold and
Yes,
it would really rise to the surface.
That was the other thing. You could put the whole thing together, cover it with a liquid, put it in the fridge, and then the next day, I'm just going to dump that in there.
Yeah, that's fine.
Just scrape it off. It's so much easier. All right.
Isn't that great?
Let me check the pasta here. I am going to drain this one. And of course, we're not going to rinse it or toss it with oil.
No.
Because we want the
that's
starch
not
on
necessary.
there.
Exactly.
And you want to dump that in.
Okay.
And then you need me to add the cheese.
Yeah, just before we serve it, we'll add the cheese, and we will also add the arugula.
And the butter.
And the butter.
Okay. That's so interesting about arugula. So that's going to add a nice bitter sort of bit to it.
Why don't you put the arugula in? It's about 2 cups of arugula.
Okay, and we have some Parmesan here.
2 tablespoons of butter. Yeah, that just gives the sauce a nice silky finish.
Ooh, happy times. There we go.
And this is great. I love to cook the pasta right there in the sauce when I can.
Finish cooking.
Yeah, finish cooking it this way because it just it helps it to absorb the flavor. You know?
It sort of marries the sauce to the pasta.
Exactly. Precisely. Oh, you said
that
that
was
so
so-
nicely.
Oh, wow. I like marriages. We're both very happily married for
That's
so many
true.
years. How many years have you been married?
Oh gosh, it's going to be 44.
What?
Can you
got married
imagine?
when you were 15.
Yes.
Ooh, that's gorgeous. Now,
bit
speaking of the husband, your husband,
Yeah.
Charles, he picked our wine. It's Chianti. And why Chianti?
Well, because Chianti is one of our favorite all-purpose go-to red wines. It has
Food-friendly.
Very food-friendly. It goes with a lot of different dishes. And
Let's take you want to grab our wine, speaking of wine, and let's come on down
Great
here.
idea.
You know what, I'm going to put one more little bit in here. Yes, it's very food-friendly.
and it has nice fruit, and but it's not so overwhelming that it would kill the flavors in the dish.
Oh, well, that I like that. So we're going to serve this with a beet salad with walnuts and celery leaves. I cannot wait to taste our pork ragu with,
Broken lasagna and arugula.
yay! Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you. So they lay how many eggs a day?
I get from my girls right now about 5 to 6 dozen a day.
Are they warm? Yeah, they're a little warm.
A little warm,
Some of them,
yep.
yeah. Hello, here I am in slow cooker land with my friend Michele Scicolone. And speaking of that, Miss Italian girl, we're going to be making Moroccan meatballs?
Sure, why not?
In the slow cooker. You're going to have to explain that to me, but we need to get started. So what are we going to start with?
Well, it's very simple. First we're going to make our sauce. So we have some tomatoes here. Yes, the onion. You could get started chopping an onion for me. And the basis for the sauce is going to be some crushed tomatoes.
Okay, what kind of crushed tomatoes do you
These
like?
are the San Marzano tomatoes from Italy. And they really have a lot of good flavor and rich aroma. And this is some smoked paprika.
Oh, I love smoked paprika.
It's wonderful. It adds great flavor to the sauce. And it's about a tablespoon.
A tablespoon.
Yeah. And now I have some ground cumin, and I'm going to put a tablespoon of that. And then we're going to put some cayenne, but just a pinch of cayenne. And I'm also going to put in a nice pinch of salt in here.
Okay, now you can answer the why Moroccan meatballs, my Italian friend.
Well, I found myself traveling in the Eastern European countries and around the Eastern Mediterranean, and I tasted all of these wonderful spices, and I loved tasting things like meatballs, which always mean a certain thing to me.
Yeah.
But having them with these different spices, it just intrigued me. And I've added them to my cooking repertoire now.
Now, you know, that brings up another question, which is what are some of your favorite things to make in the slow cooker? This goes right in.
Yeah.
We're not cooking anything ahead of time.
No.
Okay.
In this case, I don't. I love to do meatballs in the slow cooker. I love to do pot roast in the slow cooker is terrific. Short ribs are excellent. And then just put the cover on, and it needs 4 hours of cooking time.
You mentioned polenta before. That is intriguing
Polenta's
to
great.
me. There we go.
Polenta's great. I love to do polenta because, you know, it's such a pain in the neck to do polenta on the stovetop.
Yeah, to stir it.
You have to stir, and I always wind up getting splashed with that flying polenta when it comes to a simmer.
It's like it's dangerous.
Yeah.
It's Vesuvial.
It really is. And
Okay, so 4 hours on low.
yeah, 4 hours.
Okay, so now we're making the meatballs.
Yes, let's get those done.
So another onion.
Another onion.
Okay.
And I'm gonna, meanwhile, while you do that, I'll do some garlic chopping. Now, in addition to the garlic and the onion, I make these with lamb.
Oh, nice.
And but if you wanted to use beef, you certainly could.
And you like lamb because that's what's traditional.
It is traditional. It has great flavor, and it's underutilized.
I love lamb. Okay, so lamb. Here we go. I'm going to pass it to you. Well, we're going to put the egg in first and beat it up.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We'll do it all in one bowl.
One bowl. Yeah.
The fewer bowls, the less
know.
clean up, the better.
Well, you know, that's another good thing about slow cookers is you don't make a lot of dishes because
It's
it just
true.
all goes in there. All right, so we beat this up. Okay. And then in goes the lamb.
And we put in the garlic.
Okay, and that was 2 pounds of lamb, right?
2 pounds of lamb, yeah.
And the garlic and 1 medium onion. And then our spices. So we're adding some of the same spices as the last time, right?
That's right.
So 1 tablespoon of this regular paprika now.
That's regular paprika. I've brought over the cumin also.
And we're going to add a teaspoon of that.
A teaspoon of cumin. About a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne just for some
I
earthy
like the heat
flavor.
in there.
And what I do is I moisten my hands first. So,
Oh.
you know, the meat mixture won't stick quite as much.
That's good. That's good. Good little trick.
And I find that if I use my hands, I don't overwork the meat as much. So it comes out even more tender.
Well, the whole thing about I've learned is that if you really work the meat and pack it, it's very dense.
Yes.
And so we want light and fluffy meatballs.
Yes, exactly. And these do come out nice and light and fluffy because we don't brown them first.
We don't?
No, there's no need to.
Okay, so now we are.
We're done.
Okay, so I should need to get wet too.
Yeah, I
need to
think that's a
join
great
you.
idea. If you want to use a scoop, of course you can.
Okay, so show me about what size.
Oh, not too big, maybe a golf ball size.
Golf ball size.
But whatever you do, it has to be the same size. And just roll it lightly. You don't want to pack it down.
Oh, okay, good point.
Yeah.
Just like when you're making burgers.
Yes.
Okay then.
Oh, mine are bigger than yours. Just small golf balls.
I know,
versus-
maybe it's because I'm 5 feet tall. Righty, there we go. We'll both hose down here. And we're going to pop those in the fridge until the sauce is ready, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let me put some plastic wrap on them. Get them in the fridge. Okay. Are your hands orange?
Not too bad.
Mine are a little bit, yeah.
They smell great, I'll tell you that.
Okay. Alrighty. So let's go take a walk.
Good idea.
It's a really pretty little walk down the road.
I'd love to.
So what made you decide to go into food?
Well, I grew up in a family that loved food and cooking. You know, we're Italians, and so everybody cooked. And one day I read, "Happy is the man who makes a living from his hobby."
Aha!
And that just struck such a chord with me.
And then how convenient that Charles got interested in wine. Now, what's his story?
Well, he was a teacher. He taught school for many years, and we would go to Europe for a couple of months in the summer if we could. And we visited wineries and met winemakers, and he decided to segue into that as his career.
God, it just doesn't get better than that. Good
No.
food and good wine at home every night.
Yeah, can't complain.
Ooh, I can smell it. It smells so. That's the other thing I love about slow cookers. They just smell so great. So it's meatball time, right?
Yes,
okay.
time.
They go right in there. Oh, they're sort of red from all that paprika.
Yeah. Cayenne, I guess the combination.
Okay, so now we're gonna smell it really, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Woo, that looks yummy.
Doesn't that look great?
So should we start throwing these guys in?
Yeah. Just throw them in. And like I said, I always feared that they would stick together, but you know, they never do.
You mean they become one big giant meatball,
That's
your
what-
worst nightmare.
Yes, exactly.
Giant meatball. I imagine they shrink down quite a bit.
Of course they do. And all of those flavors, the meat juices, are going to go into the sauce and make it even tastier. And it's just a great combination.
Well, here, I can do this.
Can you reach it?
Yes.
And then with my clean hand, I'm going to make sure that we've raised the temperature to high because we cooked the sauce on low, and now we've put it up to high to get those meatballs cooking.
Okay, so in 2 hours we should come back and see what it looks like.
Exactly, it'll be perfect.
All right, let's go clean up. I can't believe we're going to poach eggs in a slow cooker?
Yeah, it's very steamy in the slow cooker. You've got all of that moisture in there, and it's a
Guess
perfect
it makes
atmosphere.
sense. Okay, so we'll just do two, one for each of us.
Yeah, that's plenty.
Okay. So, wow, that is such a cool thing. Is there anything you can't do in a slow cooker?
Well, I think some things certainly do better than others. I wouldn't cook like thin pieces of fish, like a flounder or sole would be much too tender, and it would fall apart too easily. But same thing with certain cuts of meat. Okay.
That's probably my fault. Ooh, wow.
Isn't that great?
So that just sort of nestles in there.
Yeah,
huh?
it's all kind of lumpy and bumpy and
Okay.
absolutely perfect.
Okay, so how long does that take now?
About 10 minutes, that's all.
So you want to serve couscous, which is very Moroccan.
Couscous is perfect,
Okay.
yeah, and I like the whole wheat.
All right, this is whole wheat couscous.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of oil in here.
Yeah.
All right, so this goes
Same
in here,
thing.
and then you want to measure 2 cups of boiling water. We'll just put it right in there, and then steam it. And this takes what, about 10 minutes? So we'll just give that 10 minutes. Now, one last thing we need to do is chop some cilantro, which
Okay.
I've got here.
I'll do that.
Which
And then-
makes sense because it's Moroccan again.
Yeah, and it adds a great color and, a little fresh flavor.
And I love cilantro. But if you don't love
too.
cilantro, what could you use?
Well, you could put parsley, you could use basil even if you
Yeah,
wanted. I
yeah.
mean, I don't think it's very Moroccan, but it tastes great.
You don't have to tell anybody. Let me see. I think it's just about ready.
You think so?
Shall we check?
Okay, why not?
Woo, that is so cool.
Oh, they look good.
I just love that.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's the funnest thing we've done all day. Okay, so I'll fluff up the couscous, and I think we're ready to go.
Okay, terrific.
And we can serve. You want to pass me a plate?
Absolutely.
And I'll start with the couscous, and then you'll do the meatballs.
Mm-hmm.
So what, does that look good?
Yeah, I think that should be good. We could always have seconds.
Oh, we could. Yeah. Here, I'll take the second plate too. There we go. We need to do both of these. All right.
I'm gonna try not to break the egg on top, but
Well, if it does, it's not the end of the world.
I like the way it looks when it's broken.
What the yolk does is it's like sauce too on top of everything else.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. There we go.
I'll do this one.
Boy, we sure had to wait a long time for this one.
That's the good news and that's the bad news about slow cooking.
Right. But if we started in the morning and it was dinner time, or if we made it yesterday and reheated it, it's not so terrible. Okay, so let's head over to the table.
Okay, I'll take the plates.
You'll take the plates, and I'll
Okay.
take all the rest of this. Oh boy, I can't wait to tuck into this. And you've got to tell us, what wine did Charles pick for this?
Oh, he suggested a Barbera, and he said it has the spice that we need to stand up to the spices in our sauce.
Oh, I like that very
Isn't that
much.
nice?
So, quick, we want to say that you have 3 wonderful slow cooker books. You have the Italian, the French, the Mediterranean,
Right.
and you've got a new book out. What is that?
Yeah, it's the Italian Vegetable Cookbook. It's 200 recipes for all kinds of vegetable dishes.
Okay. Oh my goodness. That is so fabulous. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. My pleasure.
I'm Sara Malton. Thanks for joining me on Sarah's Weeknight Meals here with Michele Scicolone, making slow cooker recipes. I look forward to seeing you the next time. Shall we have a toast?
Oh, excellent. That was fun.
Oh, yummy.
It really goes together. And I love when the egg breaks over.
This is heaven. Sara's Weeknight Meals continues online. For recipes, helpful tips, messages, and lots more, visit us on the web at saramoulton.com/weeknightmeals. Funding provided by
Subaru builds vehicles like the versatile Subaru Forester with symmetrical all-wheel drive and plenty of cargo room. A recipe made for whatever the day brings. Subaru, a proud sponsor of Sara's Weeknight Meals.
Family owned and Indiana grown, Maple Leaf Farms is a proud sponsor of Sara's Weeknight Meals. Providing a variety of duck products for home kitchens, Maple Leaf Farms Duck helps inspire culinary adventures everywhere. Maple Leaf Farms.
Ezra's Feta Cheese, family made for more than a century.